अनुदिनं वन्दे गुरुनाथा अनुदिनं वन्दे गुरुनाथा என்னை அனுகிரகம் செய்வாய் குருநாதா अनुदिनं वन्दे गुरुनाथा என்னை அனுகிரகம் செய்வாய்
सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. Together we'll chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verses 11 to 20.
यदक्षरं वेदविदो वदन्ति विशन्ति यद्यतयो वीतरागाः यदिच्छन्तो ब्रह्मचर्यं चरन्ति तत्ते पदं संग्रहेण प्रवक्ष्ये सर्वद्वाराणि संयम्य मनोहृदि निरुध्य च मूर्ध्याधायात्मनः प्राणम् आस्थितो योगधारणाम् ओमित्येकाक्षरं ब्रह्म व्याहरन् मामनुस्मरन् यः प्रयाति त्यजन् देहम् स याति परमां गतिम् अनन्यचेताः सततम् यो मां स्मरति नित्यशः तस्याहं सुलभः पार्थ नित्ययुक्तस्य योगिनः मामुपेत्य पुनर्जन्मः दुःखालयमशाश्वतम् नाप्नुवन्ति महात्मानः संसिद्धिं परमां गताः आब्रह्मभुवनाल्लोकाः पुनरावर्तिनोऽर्जुन मामुपेत्य तु कौन्तेय पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते सहस्रयुगपर्यन्तम् अहर्यद्ब्रह्मणो विदुः रात्रिं युगसहस्रान्ताम् देवोरात्रविदो जनाः अव्यक्ताद्व्यक्तयः सर्वाः प्रभवन्त्यहरागमे रात्र्यागमे प्रलीयन्ते तत्रैवाव्यक्तसंज्ञके भूतग्रामः स एवायम् भूत्वा भूत्वा प्रलीयते रात्र्यागमे वशः पार्थ प्रभवत्यहरागमे परस्तस्मात्तु भावोऽन्यः अव्यक्तो व्यक्तात् सनातनः Yassa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati.
Jankiji, you have to unmute.
Thank you, Bharat. iPhone, who is iPhone Shilpa? In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, 11, 5, chapter 6, verse 11, okay. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 11, Krishna says, a thin quilt or a blanket folded twice should serve the purpose. What does Krishna mean by folded twice? Here's an exercise in clearer thinking for everybody. I hope you have all got access to this question. You can read it. The moment you read this question, does anything occur to you which is unusual, something that red flags, something that you feel, what? Anything like that struck you? If it struck you, great. It means you're very observant. I'm going to read the question out to you again. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 11, Krishna says, a thin quilt or a blanket folded twice should serve the purpose. What does Krishna mean by folded twice? Okay, Shilpa, since you are quoting a verse, can you please read that verse out to us? I hope you all have all thought and come up with what is, you see any red flag in this statement? Immediate, the moment you hear it. You will, if you're right, you're soon going to find out. Shilpa, can you please read us this chapter 6, verse 11 verse, please? The verse. You're muted, so please unmute yourself.
शुचौ देशे प्रतिष्ठाप्य स्थिरमासनमात्मनः नात्युच्छितं नातिनीचं चैलाजिनकुशोत्तरम्.
Very good, Shilpa. But the thing is, please tell us in English. I don't know whether everybody knows the Sanskrit so well.
Okay.
English word.
Having established in a clean place a firm seat of his own, neither too high nor too low, with cloth, skin, and kusha, grass thereon.
Okay. So, has anyone found out anything wrong in this question? Can you tell me? Not even now?
There has to be a reference to this. I mean,
Can you find anything wrong in the question?
It doesn't say.
Hari Om Janki Krishna did not say what is being attributed to him.
Correct. Read again, Shilpa. That's why I'm asking you to read this verse. You should have figured this out when you first read the question. Quilt, blanket folded twice in the Bhagavad Gita. I mean, does this seem correct? I mean, is the Gita going to talk about these things? Like,
Yes, that is why I was
talking. Yeah, but the Gita is not talking about it. Where is it talking? The verse you just read to us, Shilpa, where is it saying that? There is a commentary below which says that. There is no verse in the Bhagavad Gita, as far as I can recollect offhand, that talks about quilts and blankets, folded or otherwise.
But when the chapter starts, everything is said by Bhagwan. It's saying Bhagwan Uvacha. So I thought that it's a continuation of the dialogues. When this chapter starts, it is said that the Shri Bhagwan Uvacha. So I assumed that.
Yes, but that is right, Shilpa, but the verse doesn't say it. You just read out the verse to us, right?
Yes.
But does the verse talk about quilts or blankets, folded or unfolded, kept badly on the bed or kept well on the bed? Is it talking of that?
No.
No. So your reference is not correct. We can't build up a whole theory when our basic fact is not correct. This is your first lesson, Aditi, since you're there. This is the first lesson of clearer thinking. When you start, whatever ground you're starting on, please ensure that that ground in itself is perfect. That is steady. You can't start at a wrong place. If you're saying, okay, this person said that whatever corona virus is going to be gone from December, whatever. And then you're building up a theory based on that. At least first verify, did the person say that? If you are little better, you'll verify on what basis he said that. But first thing is, did he say it? Okay, so please get the base facts right. This is the first step in thinking properly. So, firstly, verse 6 does not say that. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 11 does not make this statement. Then who makes this statement? Tell me, Shilpa, who is making this statement?
The person who is explaining it to us.
That's right. Swamiji has made this statement. Because now when people go out, want to meditate, they don't have to go locate kusha grass. Now, where do I find kusha grass to sit on to meditate? You don't have to do that. What it means is you're just sitting on a comfortable place. So if you just fold a blanket, you're as good as the skin and the kusha grass and all was for the forests of those times. We don't need to use all these things. They are not meant for us. Now you can't meditate. I can't do morning study. Why not? Because I couldn't find kusha grass anywhere. There's no such thing. All they did was they said, be comfortable. Being comfortable is a good starting point for everything. If you're beginning uncomfortable, then now everything else is going to become more difficult. So begin comfortable, sit comfortably, be relaxed, make sure your body is okay, not something is hurting or you're dying of hunger or you're so thirsty, all that you don't do. Be comfortable. Please begin
Thank
comfortable.
you. Thank you.
Okay, Shilpa. Akhila. Hari Om Akhila. In the explanation to chapter 18, verse 15. Chapter 18. Oh, we are in a different class, Akhila. This is the line. Become a detached witness, sakshi of one's thought, word, and deed. Practicing thus, a seeker would merge with the Supreme Self. How does one practice sakshi bhav? Is it the absence of self-centeredness in one's actions? It's also mentioned in the previous para that self is sakshi. Would you please comment on this? Okay, Akhila, since it's the beginning of the class, we can take it up as a general question. But if you keep that flow with that, it will be easier for you to figure out what's happening. So,
Sorry.
no, it's okay. It's not it's not like a bad thing to apologize. It's just keeping ourselves mentally in one place at one time. So if we do that, it's beneficial to us. Don't have to, nothing to apologize about. How does one practice Sakshi Bhav? Is it the absence of self-centeredness in one's action? So let's first define what is Sakshi Bhav. Because how we practice it will only arise from knowing what it is. So it says, become a detached witness, Sakshi of one's thought, word, and deed. How does one, what is a Sakshi? It is said as, it is defined as, it is translated into the word witness. Now, Sakshi is not a witness in the English sense of the term, because the example given for Sakshi is the sun. Sun is supposed to be the ultimate Sakshi, right? So, a Sakshi Bhav, like the sun, is what is the most common way of understanding what is Sakshi. So what does it mean when you say like the sun? It means two things, two specific points of comparisons. So as you know in thinking, there are 4 ways you can do this in. One of the way is called upama or analogy or comparison. And so comparing it to the sun gives us 2 points of comparison. Number 1, the sun does not have anything to do with what is happening on earth. The sun does not rejoice when a baby is born. It does not cry if tragically the baby passes away. It is not involved. Nothing to do with any of it. It's totally detached from all the affairs on this planet. Whether there's a war or there's a festival, the sun has got nothing to do with it. It is a mere observer. Okay, that is the first point of comparison. This is usually the point of comparison that most people understand and remember. There is a second point of comparison which is often forgotten. The second point of comparison between the sun and Sakshi Bhav is that whatever happens on earth happens because of the sun. Should the sun decide to take a walk, neither the festival nor the war can take place. Okay, so Sakshi Bhav implies 2 things. One is that you are doing whatever is required to be done, and 2 is, whilst doing what is required to be done, you maintain an unaffected grace through it all. This is called Sakshi Bhav. Is this clear up to this point?
Yes, sir.
Akila?
Yes, sir.
So 2 points of comparison. 1 is it is unaffected. 2 is it is the doer. Without the sun, nothing happens on earth. The sun is the ultimate power on this earth. So 2 points of comparison. Now, how do you practice Sakshi Bhav? What in you is capable of getting yourself to do the right thing and keeping an objective view, a detached view, a distance view from what is being done? What in you is capable of that?
Intellect.
Intellect. Very good. So how does one practice Sakshi Bhav?
Strengthening the intellect. Developed intellect.
Very good. How does one develop the intellect?
Morning study.
Morning study. You guys know everything. I don't know what I am doing. I'm wasting my time. Everybody knows everything. So, okay, is that clear?
Yes,
When
sir.
you do your morning study, automatically your self-centeredness will come down. Automatically your intellect will work. Whenever your intellect works, you cannot be self-centered, because if your intellect is working, how will you be self-centered? You will lose the capacity to be self-centered, such as um, uh, there's a very beautiful drawing I had seen once. I wish I could draw, then I could do that lovely drawing. Which was, there was a glass, a fish bowl, and there were 2 fish fighting. They were throwing stones at each other in that glass bowl. Okay, one had a bat, hockey bat or something in its hand. The other had stones, and they were quarreling in that fish bowl and throwing stones at each other. And then that stone hits the glass bowl. It was just this picture. This is a beautiful example of how, if you have an intellect, can you be self-centered? How is it possible? So foolishly, these 2 fish are fighting, throwing stones, not recognizing that whether I can kill the other fish or I don't kill the other fish, I'm going to hurt the bowl and water is going to go out and we're both going to die. So how is it possible to be self-centered when your intellect works? self-centeredness is nothing but the incapacity to see how your actions in the broader sense are going to come back to you. It's incapacity to see that, which is absence of intellect. So, is it absence of self-centeredness in one's actions? Yes, that is part of Sakshi Bhav. I don't know whether you can call it the cause, it's just part of it. If your intellect works, you can't be self-centered. You cannot be stupid, right? If your intellect works. Now it's mentioned that the self is Sakshi. Self is Sakshi because both these points work for the self, right? Because the self is the enlivener of everything that happens. Without the self, nothing can happen. And secondly, it is unaffected by anything that happens. So the self is the ultimate Sakshi. Is that okay, Akhila?
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Okay, so where were we? And the 10th verse, he told us, Prayana kale manasa chalena. Manas is the manasa with the mind. For those who are in the Sanskrit class, manasa with the mind. I hope you remember the declensions for manas. Manasa with the mind. Prayana kale manasa chalena. Achalena, the mind not moving. Bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva. Bhaktya yukto yukta. Yukta means united. Bhaktya means with devotion. Yoga balena, with the power of yoga. So how many qualities do you have? You have the manasa achalena, the mind not moving. Bhaktya, with devotion. Yoga balena, by the power of yoga, which means the intellect trying to find union. And bhruvo madhye, pranam aveshya, having fixed the bhruvo madhye, between the eyebrows, you fix the prana. Prana means activity. So what is the activity right now? In the seat of meditation is the thought. So you fix the thought between the two eyebrows, fixing the thought. Eyebrows doesn't mean what normally understood. We take the text pretty literally. It doesn't mean you just try to concentrate here or something, or you make yourself cockeyed trying to look over there. It doesn't mean any of these things. What it means is you have a generally upward direction. It is a facet of devotion, that when you are devoted, you look upwards, right? When you are lying and all, you look downwards. So it's just a facet of devotion. And so if you do these things, when your mind is unmoving, there's only one condition under which the mind is unmoving. And which is that condition?
Absence of desire.
Absence of desire, or single pointed desire would be correct. You're right, Bharat. Absence of any other desire or single pointed desire. That's the only condition under which the mind will be unmoving. So in this state, when he's come now, he's sitting in the seat of meditation, he has only one desire, the desire to know the self. He is not interested in any other thing, simply not interested. You say, I'll make you the king of the world, he'll say, thank you very much. But no, thank you. Or yes, thank you. Whatever, it doesn't matter to him one way or the other. Whatever you offer him, not interested. Guru Rangi Pradme Manaschayana Lagnam. Tatakim, 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 tatakim. So what? You got the Nobel Prize. So what? You got Miss Universe. So what? Tatakim. So what? You've just lost everything. Tatakim. When you're in that mental condition that it really doesn't matter. The whole world loves you. Tatakim. Everybody hates you. Tatakim. So what? What is going to happen by all these things? You're the world's smartest person. So what? You're the world's dumbest person. So what? What is supposed to happen by all these things happening? When you've got that, you've understood, it doesn't matter one way or the other. Doesn't matter. Why does it not matter? Because single pointed attention on that one thing. Nothing else is of consequence. It's just not of consequence. Because just think about it. If you did get the Nobel Prize or you did not get the Nobel Prize, what is the difference at the end of the day that's happening in your life? Is there any difference? Can you guarantee that if you get the Nobel Prize, you will definitely be happy? You'll always be happy? Can you guarantee that if you don't get the Nobel Prize, you will not be happy? Now, if you're doing all this for happiness and you're not even going to be guaranteed happiness, then tata kyam? What of it? What have I driven myself mad about? I have to get that, I have to get that, I have to get that. Okay, even if I get it, what of it? And if I don't get it, what of it? Now, we don't understand the meaning. So we say, oh, so we should not try to do something. Of course, you should try to do something, because what are you doing over here? You're going to sleep all the time? Or obviously, you're going to do something. So do it. Do it fully. Do it dedicatedly. Put your heart and soul into it. Because it should be done. It's a good thing. Do it. It's a good thing. Go ahead and do it. But should it happen or should it not happen? Will that fruit come? Will that fruit not come? Tatakim, 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 tatakim. What of it? What of it? I am here. I am alive. I have to do something. So what's the best thing I can do? Do it. But you are doing it because you have to do something. Now you say, why do I have to do something? Can you tell me, why do we have to do something? Why can't I just lie in bed? Chill.
You'll just decay and rot.
Yes, you'll decay and rot. That's one thing. What else?
Your intellect will not be working. You'll be all in unproductive thoughts.
Okay, so why not? I'll just chill. I'll be in my armchair all day. So what?
Because the self is looking for happiness. So it's always going to be agitated and unhappy.
No, people who are sitting in their armchair in the club, putting their feet up on that, I don't know if you're, I don't know whether this happens. I don't know, it's a typical Parsi thing, I think. They have these long chairs. I've seen that, a long chair, and then there's this sort of a long arm that extends, and then you can put your feet up and rest on that. Just go to the club, put your feet up, chill, have your sali boti and I don't know what on that, chill. Why all this trouble? Do something, do something, do something. Gita will get on your case and say, do something, do something. Bye.
Because the world has given you so much and you have to give back to the world and not be a burden to the world.
Because
I
you're receiving. You're receiving. How can you take the stance, I'll do nothing, when you're receiving? You're receiving oxygen, you're receiving atmospheric pressure, you're receiving, you're alive, right? That means you cannot be alive without these receipts. The heart is pumping. What are you doing to make the heart pump? Your eyes open and miraculously you see all this stuff. Can you believe that? I mean, isn't it a miracle how you can just open your eyes and then everything you can see? We are receiving. So how can we take the stance that I will do nothing, I will just sit down? Arey, what do you mean you will sit down? Chalo, utho, kam karo. Kam karo. Kam nahi karo. Do work, not desire. Do work. Find absolute fulfillment in the work. That's all there is to it. But now whether you get something, you don't get something, tatakim, what of it? What of it? How many things we have got in this world? How many things? Remember 10 standard? Oh my God, results are coming, results are coming, results are coming. Pagal ho rahe the. Those results came one way or the other. Then admission. Admission भी मिल गई, job भी मिल गया, शादी भी हो गई, बर्बादी भी नहीं, sorry, शादी हो गई, बच्चे हो गए, सब कुछ हो गया. So what happened? We are where we are, right? What happened? Why can't we learn this? So we are not working to get anything because we have figured out that getting it or not getting it is not going to make much of a difference anyway. Then what are we working for? Because we become obligated since we are receiving, constantly receiving. Do you even know what our carbon footprint is? Each person, what is our individual carbon footprint? And beyond a point, there's nothing you can do about it. Can you do? You're actually, the very fact that I'm alive is a damage to this world. Can you believe that? The fact that I'm alive, I better do something about it, Baba. How can I live like that? I'm receiving, and my existence itself is a damage. Can you believe that? So therefore, I need to work. Instead of working, I'm saying, oh, why have I not got this? Why have I not got this? Why have I not? Mera sir nahi khao, acha. Get down to doing what needs to be done. Remember where we were, by the way? Because don't get carried away. You're supposed to use your intellect over here. Don't get carried away.
We were on the
Observing
meditation part, the single
Okay.
pointed focus on the self. That's just the only thought that is there. There's no other thought.
That is the only thought that is there. This is possible only if there is no other desire. If there is any other desire, you will find that thing, whatever you desire, extremely important. Amazing, isn't it? It's the most fascinating thing. If you can take a step back and watch yourself, watch other people also. Watch other people, it's easier. Watching yourself is a little more difficult. Watch others. How important this thing is for that person. Watch a child. Watch the child cry when she hasn't got some doll. Watch it. Remember how you cried for not getting it. And what is the actual importance or the consequence of that doll? And yet for the child, it's heartbreaking, just as it's heartbreaking for me when I don't get something I want. I am crying, I am sobbing, I am weeping, I am not getting whatever I want. But what is the value of that thing that I'm crying for? Watch. Because the greatest thing your intellect can do is watch and learn. Okay, it can be very important to me. Something can be very important to me. If somebody insults me, it can be very important to me. It can agitate me. It can keep me up at night. Somebody said, you're a very corrupt person. This has hit me very badly because I am not a corrupt person. I'm staying up at night because that person said I was corrupt. Now think of the value of those words. They say you are corrupt. What is the value of those words? Should those words have some value? What are those? What is the value? Who has said those words? What has motivated those words? Why have those words been said? To every question is an answer that tells you that this is not worth wasting my time over. And yet, it is hurting me. Why is this hurting me? Why can I not give up that hurt? Do you know why you can't give up that hurt? What's the reason?
Because you've been constantly thinking about it.
Because
I
desire. You desire it. That means we have this stupid notion in our head created by this desire that something is important when it is not. The only reason I find it important is because I desire it. And the moment I don't desire it, it's valueless, it's useless. Like my toys. At one point, that toy was very, very important. Like Rujita says, or Aditi says, my desire is there. I've been thinking about it. So when I think about it, it becomes very important to me. That's my desire. And that silly thing is not even important. You know how many women have cried because their husbands did not give them attention? How many women have cried over this? Not just this generation, but for many, many generations, this has gone on. Now, that husband, what is his value? Was he some Raja Harishchandra? Was he Rama? Was he Sage Vashishta? What is his value? Value is nothing. What is the use of his attention? What is the value of that attention? Is there any value in that attention? Attention मिला तो क्या मिलेगा? नहीं, कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला. तो फिर क्यों चाहिए? पागल हो क्या? Intellect doesn't function. And yet, I don't get it. That how much I'm craving for something which in itself is valueless. Ramatirtha quotes this. For a cap and bells, our lives we pay. For a cap and bells, our lives we pay. Bubbles we earn with a whole soul's yearning. Whole soul's yearning. And what have you got? Bubbles. Not lasting for a second, no value in themselves. They're not going to last. It's of no value. There's nothing in it. And yet I'm craving it. I'm wanting it. I'm dying for it. I'm getting blood pressure. I'm getting blood sugar. I'm getting cholesterol. I've reached ICU. I've given my life up for it. I never got it. Or even if I got it, valueless thing I got. When you understand the futility of the whole thing, your mind becomes single-pointed towards something that according to you has genuine value, not fake value that has been given because my mind is a mad fellow, but a genuine value, a really valuable thing. When you figure that out, you will know your life's purpose. Then you will go to that one thing. What in your life is worth dying for? Because whatever you choose, you're going to die for it. You choose your husband's attention, you're going to die. Every time, every thought that you have spent on that has only taken you closer to death, isn't it? You're dying for money. You're paying for that money with your life. Every thought you spent on it just took you to closer to your death. Every step. That's why you blow out the candles on your cake. Phew, you do. That's your life. You just blew it away. Just blew it away. That's how much it's worth. So if I'm paying with my life for something, at least it's up to me to ensure it's a valuable thing, isn't it? It's up to me to ensure that. Or it'll be gone. Just gone. When I figure these things out, I apply my head, I apply my thinking, I try to decide in my own life what is valuable and what's not valuable. Then I will come eventually to some answer, which according to me is what is valuable. Single-pointed attention. That is called growth. It is called maturity. It is called, I don't know, spiritual development. We bandy all these terms around with no understanding of what it means. And then the sublime becomes ridiculous. This is why we need to channelize our emotions to Krishna ourselves. Yeah. Emotions will get channelized once you figure out what you're doing with yourself. What are you spending your life for? What? What are you spending your sorrow for? You're expending sorrow, no, on things. Are they worth it? Manasa achalena. Bhaktya. Bhaktya means with devotion. Means that your emotions are also going in the same direction. They are going in that direction because the intellect has placed the direction. And since the direction is a higher direction, it is devotion. As you know, love and devotion are exactly the same. When you're talking about loving equals and those lower, it's love. When you're talking about loving something higher, it's devotion. So you love your children, you love your spouse, you love your home, you love your furniture, you love your car, you love your dress, you love all these things, but you are devoted to God, you're devoted to the country, you're devoted to a cause, all higher. So, bhaktya, yoga balena, by the power of yoga, the power of your intellect to join you to something useful in life. And then, once you got to that point where you have only one desire, you are ready for the seat of meditation. Single thought, single thought, single thought, single thought. You still haven't got there because getting there means dropping even that thought. The last thought has to go away. Then you will reach the supreme resplendent being. Verse 11. Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti Vishanti Yadyataya Vitaragaha Yadechanto Brahmacharyam Charanti Tatte Padam Samgrahena Pravakshe Yadaksharam Vedavido Vadanti Vishanti Yadyataya Vitaragaha Yadechanto Brahmacharyam Charanti Tatte Padam Samgrahena Pravakshe Yat Aksharam Vedavido Vadanti Veda, one who knows the Vedas. Vedavit, one who is the knower of the Vedas. So, Yat Aksharam Vedavida Vadanti. The Vedavidaha, Yat Aksharam Vadanti. The knowers of the Vedas, they call it Akshara. Shara, perishable. Akshara, non-perishable. Vishanti Yat. Yat means that, which. Vishanti Yat Yatayo Vitaragaha. The Yatis. The Yatayaha. Tayaha is plural. Those who are striving, those who are working, those who are putting in effort. In English, it is translated as ascetics. So, any of us who are putting in effort to reach that place, we are the ascetics. We understand ascetics, our only comprehension of the word ascetics are the pictures from Amar Chitra Kathas. You see somebody in a ochre robe and then he has all his hair tied up and a long, long beard. Somehow, I don't know how this beard got associated with religiosity. So he has to have a long beard, otherwise not religious. So, yataya vitaragaha, ragaha, desires, vitaragaha, on desires, bye-bye desires. So those people enter Vishanti, Yataya Vitaragaha, those who are striving without desires. freed from desires. Yat means which, that which ichanti, that which desiring which. Brahmacharyam charanti. They perform, they walk on the path of brahmacharya. What is brahmacharya? Brahmacharya. Brahman charati iti brahmacharya. He who walks on the path of Brahman. He is a brahmachari. It is translated into English, quite sadly, as celibacy. What it talks about is not celibacy per se, but self-control, which means that when you have a goal in life and you refuse to do anything which interrupts your path to your goal, this is self-control, this is brahmacharya, this is common sense. How will you reach your goal if you keep doing anything apart from it? Is it possible? These scriptures, they don't tell us some esoteric things. That's normal common sense. Anybody with half a brain should be able to understand it. If you are striving to reach a goal, will you do something that will prevent you from reaching it? Obviously, you won't do it. Now, what is that thing which will prevent you from reaching it? That depends on where you are, that depends on what the goal is, all that sort of stuff. You can't make a list. These things are bad things, don't do them. What is that supposed to even mean? What do you mean don't do them? Why not do them? If you have alcohol, it's very bad. What? How did you get to that conclusion? Oh, you shouldn't get married. It's very bad. No such thing. What nonsense. Children are something very bad, very good and all. You know, children talk like that. Oh, she's a very bad girl, miss. What is this? Each one is at different levels of growth, and at each person's level of growth, they need to do something and not do some things, and they themselves have to know those things. It's simple, right? Nobody is supposed to tell you what you're supposed to do. You're an adult human being. You have an intellect of your own. Why should anyone tell you what you're doing? You decide for yourself what according to you is right and what according to you is wrong, and keep doing whatever you think is right and avoid doing whatever you think is wrong. That's quite simple, isn't it? The great thing about Vedanta is it's very simple. Unlike anything else, there's no complication. Very simple life gets once you learn Vedanta. Complications are provided by us. Vedanta is simple. So yat aksharam veda vido vadanti. What the Vedavid calls akshara, that thing which the Vedavid, the knowers of the Vedas call akshara. That thing which those people striving are going to enter. That thing because of which they do their brahmacharya. Of course, right? If you have a goal, you will have to do self-control or you'll never reach that goal. Tat padam sangrahena pravakshe. Pravakshe, I will tell you sangrahena. Samshik me. In brief. I will tell it to you in brief. So, there are three adjectival clauses for that goal. Padam means goal. For that goal, three adjectival clauses. Adjectival clause number 1. Knowers of the Vedas. Knowers of the Vedas. Who are the real knowers of the Vedas? The knowers of the Vedas are the Pandits, the priests. Who are the knowers of the Vedas?
The ones who study it.
Self-realized people.
Self-realized people. If there be a self-realized soul who has never heard of the existence of the Veda, he will still be referred to as Vedavit. He is the knower. He is the only one who knows it. And all of us who have studied it deeply for 40, 50 or 100 years will not be called Vedavit unless we are realized souls. Okay, so who is the knower of Vedanta amongst us? Is not that person who has spent the maximum amount of time, but that person who has
Self-realized.
Self-realized.
Reach the goal of self-realization.
correct. So therefore, in Vedanta classes, we cannot say Who is junior and who is senior? A person may come today and he may be the senior most. Or a person may be there for 50 years and may be the junior most. पता ही नहीं चलता यहाँ पे. But luckily we don't need to know who is junior and senior. All we need to know is
What am I doing? What
we have to do.
Yeah.
yes, that's all we need to know. We don't need to know any complicated things such as how developed are you. So 3 adjectival clauses. Number 1, knower of the Vedas. Call it the Akshara. Call it the imperishable. That is why this is the one subject in which one of the definitions of the subject given in the Gita is it is a subject where there is no loss of effort. No loss of effort. Because whatever you get, Akshara, it's with you. If you develop 10% because of your studies, that 10% is Akshara. It's with you forever from this moment onwards. From the moment you get it, it's with you forever. You'll never lose it. This attribute cannot be given to anything else in this world, that it's with you forever. If you get a PhD degree, now next Janma when you're born, where will you start from? Will you start from that PhD degree? It's gone, right? You start again, KG, pre-primary, first standard, second standard, third standard, start all over again. So that's what is Akshara. Akshara in our life is only our spiritual growth. So that which the knowers of the Vedas call Akshara. Akshara, that which does not perish, because everything in the world perishes.
Ankit, I have a question here.
Go ahead, Omkar.
In one of our former classes, we discussed that one has to be vigilant always. Even a highly developed person needs to be vigilant so that he doesn't fall from where he is. And now we are saying that it is Akshara.
Can anybody correct Omkar?
We're talking about self-realized people here. He can't fall.
Nope.
If you say you've fallen, you have never been there in the first place. Because if you were there, you will remain there. And if you thought that you were there and you're fallen, which means you've not been there in the first place.
Yeah, can you correct, Aditi, can you correct Omkar's sentence?
Means that you think that you were at a particular level.
No, correct his sentence.
Omkar, can you repeat what you said?
I said in one of our former classes, we discussed that one always needs to be vigilant because even at a higher level, one can fall. How does this go with being Akshara?
Vigilance is, I think, just basically using your intellect, which is always being the awareness of what you're doing. But you cannot fall down. If you have reached a particular level, you cannot fall down from that level.
Aditi, correct the sentence. What you're saying is all correct, but just correct the sentence.
Janki ji, I may not be able.
Okay, can anyone correct Omkar's sentence?
May I try?
Only after having established.
Go ahead, Sangeeta.
No, but yoga bhrishta, we can never be yoga bhrishta where we leave our journey. We start our journey in the next, from there itself, as promised in the Gita.
No, just correct Omkar's sentence.
The context in which he is referring to that we discussed in the past class, it was different and not the way he's talking right now in his statement.
Okay, so correct his statement. Tell us what it was.
Okay, I'll tell you in a bit. I have to gather it.
Yes.
Only after establishing.
Sorry? Yeah, Anuja, go ahead.
Only after establishing that
that level that you don't fall.
That's true. That's what Aditi said. But what is wrong with what Omkar says?
He's not giving us the context of that, what he's asking from.
Yes, that is true. He didn't give us context, but even in the sentence that he said, what is wrong?
Janki ji, this is Sanjay. Can I try?
Please do.
One needs to be vigilant always to continue the journey in evolving, because once we have reached a certain level, then we cannot go down, but we could remain static at that level.
That's correct. But can you correct Omkar's sentence? You're right, of course, you're right. But can you correct his sentence?
The sentence would be that Omkar said that one needs to be vigilant. I'm saying that one needs to be vigilant to progress further upward.
Correct.
That's
correct. Yes, but Omkar has made a fundamental mistake. Everybody should be red flagged. The moment somebody hears something, that red flag, it should go beep, beep, beep in your head. No, immediately that a wrong sentence has been said. Did we say that
if you're vigilant, you cannot fall down?
Yes.
If you're vigilant, you cannot fall down.
You don't need to be vigilant not to fall down on the spiritual path, because otherwise then he'll be correct. Then it is perishable. I have to be vigilant not to fall down. You don't ever have to be. Omkar, can you repeat your sentence, please? If you still remember it.
One needs to be always vigilant, because even at a very highly evolved state, one can fall down. And here we are talking about akshara. How does
One doesn't need to be vigilant. One just has to do what he ought to do. He will not fall down because he's doing what he's ought to do.
No, he will not fall down because he's not capable of falling down.
Material.
So Omkar, that understanding was not correct. Let's correct this understanding. You have to be vigilant, as Sanjay said, not that you will fall, but that you won't grow anymore. You'll be stuck where you are. So we did not speak about vigilance in terms of falling. That is not, you don't have to be. I don't know if you remember, we spoke that time about the spiritual journey being like a bridge. Every step you take forward on that bridge, the previous portion dissolves. Do you remember that?
We discussed this with the famous example of Menaka, which got attached to me forever.
And now you made sure it will be always attached to you. Okay, yes, you remember that. Okay, so yeah. Oh, Varsha has also put it down. Everybody remembers Omkar and Menaka. We had this, there were some classes, our real world classes, where Omkar exhibited a great deal of interest in Menaka. So he's got associated with her forever and ever now. Now we are going to say Menka and Omkar rather than Menaka and Vishwamitra. So Omkar, the point is that you cannot fall from where you are. The vigilance is not to stay. Like for instance, a man who has become responsible towards his family, he cannot fall back into being not responsible for his family. He can't do that. He's lost the capacity to do that. He cannot. Mahatma Gandhi cannot, having become responsible towards the nation, cannot fall back into not being responsible. If you've learned English, you cannot fall back to not being able to speak English. Now you speak it. You cannot not speak it. You cannot not have it. So the vigilance is not required for maintenance. The vigilance is required for growth. So
if that be true, there was no need for any revision or rethinking. For example, you learn English and or mathematics or whatever, and you don't practice it enough, you will forget what you've.
Because you're not established. That Aditi has covered.
Okay. Yes, got it. Thank you.
That which the knowers of the Vedas call imperishable, that which ascetics freed from passion enter, that desiring which they practice brahmacharya. So, in simple words, that imperishable, which is the goal that we are all working for, because of which we will control ourselves to not do certain things and to do certain things. About that goal, he says, I will tell you. We listen to what he has to say about it next.